When it comes to China, I am of the view, for those of you who have happened to see me in one way or another on video, for example, I'm basically of the view that, uh, sorry, let me just turn off my phone. I'm basically of the view that China's big mistake vis-a-vis the United States was to be too successful. And that China has not done anything, in my view, and I mean anything uh, other than what a normal major country would do to provoke the kinds of reactions and attitudes from the United States. That what happened in the US was that with China's rise, starting around 2014, in a very methodical way, the United States came to view China as not only a rival, but therefore as an adversary, because it was a rival in scale, in success, in technology. And what the United States wanted was primacy or hegemony or unipolarity. And that all of what has happened is basically an American reaction to China's success. If you want to see that very well documented, I'm sure many of you know the paper, but there's a very, very clear, vivid explanation of American foreign policy in a paper in 2015 for the Council on Foreign Relations by Robert Blackwell and Ashley Tellis, called something like a grand strategy towards China, or a revised grand strategy towards China. And it spells out in completely vivid terms what has ensued for the past decade. Because what Blackwell, who was my colleague at Harvard for many years and a friend and a very smart person, but I disagree with him on the most basic point, what he writes in that 2015 paper is that America's grand strategy is primacy, and China's rise is therefore no longer in America's interest. This is an astounding idea. It's basically the idea that success elsewhere is disadvantageous for the United States. If you take that view, you are bound to live in a world of nonstop conflict. If the advances of other places are to your detriment simply because they are advances, you are condemned to view the world in conflictual terms. But Blackwell says in the first sentences of this essay, America's grand strategy has always been to be number one, and therefore China's rise is not in America's interest. And what he and his co-authors spell out is a list of 8 or 10 specific steps. We should make trade arrangements that exclude China. This is extraordinary. This is what President Obama tried to do with TPP. We will have a trade arrangement in Asia without China. Duh. Sorry. Look at a map. Look at some data. This is not a good idea. And the list goes on. Build up the military around China's perimeter. Not a good idea for peace. Put on barriers to export of technology. I'm talking about 2015. This already started 10 years ago. And what's very interesting about the Council on Foreign Relations documents is that they are not statements of views, they are explanations for the community of the Council of US policy. So this was not a view of Blackwell, what should be done. This was a description of what American policy would be. And it's been carried out pretty much systematically since then. So if you point these things out, you're viewed as a little bit impolite in Washington. So my lack of welcome to Washington goes back many years. But I can tell you the feeling is reciprocated. I don't even want to go to Washington, so I don't, except on very rare occasions, because there's nothing to do there. It's not constructive. You're not going to find answers. There's no one really to talk to. When it comes to trade, I don't have to say more than Trump is uniting the world, because there is not a single place in the world that is satisfied with this new tariff regime, including inside the United States. It has succeeded in stopping the stock market rally and reversing it. It has succeeded in lowering automobile company share prices yesterday. I didn't check today, but down 5% yesterday when the automotive tariffs were issued. It's a completely ignorant economic policy as far as I'm concerned. We can talk about it, but I see no merit whatsoever on any count to the protectionism that Trump is trying to bring about. So there, the whole world is unhappy about it. And then when it comes to Asia, we'll discuss this, probably Trump and the administration probably want to avoid open conflict with China. Whether they are clever enough to do so, I'm not sure, but there'll be a lot of noise and instability. I'll make a prediction that is clear and therefore could be completely proved wrong. So I don't believe there will be any grand bargain or any great agreement between the United States and China on anything for years to come, because I think the U.S. administration is too unstable for anything like that, because any serious agreements require consideration and strategy. I, for one, don't believe that we have any of that in Washington now. I think we have improvisation, no role of Congress, basically a one-man show, executive orders, mostly illegal, court challenges that are proliferating by the day. So I think it's a mess, not a strategy.
Yeah, man. And one thing the Trump administration inherited, they inherited this situation in the Middle East and Europe, and this has been such a detriment to the United States because their biggest threat is China, guys. Our biggest threat is China. There's no other bigger threat to global supremacy than China. And now Trump's exasperating the issue by, again, doing the implementing these tariffs on China and the rest of the world. The European Union's mad about the tariff situation. Pretty much everyone in the world, other than Trump and his cabinet, right, is completely pissed about what's going on as far as the tariffs that have been placed on several countries, economically, like inflation rates and stuff like that, which are predicted to happen, or predicted to increase due to these tariffs. There's going to be instability, guys. There's going to be much more instability here at home versus China, and again, China's ready to play ball, man. They're ready to go to war. They've even said that they're ready to take this all the way. They're dropping propaganda videos on a daily basis, all over social media, showing why, how they can make cheap, inexpensive Louis Vuitton bags that have the same material, and they're selling it to the American public for $38,000, and they're doing a whole bunch of propaganda behind this tariff situation, and it's going to cause other countries in the world. This is why BRICS is so essential. It's going to cause all the other countries in the world to gravitate towards China and sort of leave the United States. And I don't think Trump gets that, but I see what he's trying to do. You know, he's trying to wrap up the Middle East and Europe. It's not going so well for him. You have Putin, who is now willing to negotiate, cooperate. He's not going to stop the war. He's in a prominent winning position. You have the situation in the Middle East. Netanyahu has Trump literally by a noose, you know, if he doesn't attack Iran. You know, if you know, you know. Trump's not backing, you know, Trump's doing exactly what the Israeli foreign policy is in the Middle East. He's head on, you know, this whole negotiation bull crap. Maybe that could be, you know, solved, but it's definitely not going to be good with the Israelis, especially if it's the 2015 nuclear negotiation model or similar to that. So he's trying to wrap those up and focus on China, because China is the bigger threat. If all these countries say, "Hey, fuck the U.S., we're gonna make China our primary source of importing, exporting goods, trade deals, etc., etc." That's gonna have a very drastic effect on our economy, guys. Right? And then if the U.S. acts militarily, China will instantly take Taiwan, right?